when things go sideways, when things fall apart, when things are not easy, it does take a lot of mindset to say, all right, what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning? What is it, the skill that I'm supposed to be implementing? And, you know, I'm like everybody else. There's times I've been in bed and I've cried and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I even in this business anymore? Am I even supposed to be doing this? And, you know, you can doubt yourself and you can question yourself, and especially when things are really hard. Right? This is one of the hardest markets we've ever been in. It's one of the hardest, if not the hardest market we've ever been in. It's really easy to question your worth. It's really easy to question your confidence and you doing the right thing. And you're still here. And if you're still here, that means you can still make a difference.
Hi, and welcome to the Loan Officer Team Training Podcast. I am Irene, your host, and I'm so excited to have you here today with Lani Fisher, a good friend of mine, a real estate agent, a wife, a mom, a business entrepreneur, a philanthropist. I mean, you do a lot of things to help the community. So welcome, Lani. I'm so glad you're here today.
Oh man, thank you so much, Irene. I truly appreciate you even thinking or considering me to be here. I am super honored, and you are an amazing person. I'm thankful to be able to spend this time with you, and let's have a discussion. Let's make some fun.
Yeah, it's just going to be a discussion. That's what we're going to do because there's so many aspects. I've gotten to know you in the last couple years. We're both in the Ford Mastermind, and we've had other activities that we've done as well. And I'm so excited for the people that are listening to this podcast to hear some of the stories that you're going to tell us. We didn't really plan anything, but I want to make sure that we cover a few things that I know about you for sure. I know that you have a beautiful wife. I know that you have two beautiful daughters and you try to spend time with them. Not try, you do spend time with them. And you make sure that not only do you work, which we all know that work can sometimes overtake everything, right?
Yeah.
But you're always putting them as a priority. That's one thing I've noticed in hanging out with you and being around you. You always bring the kids, you bring your wife to everything that we do. And it's so fun to see you as a mom. And I get to see you on your content and you let your little girl paint your nails and put makeup on. And it's just so fun to watch because I know what a powerful, strong business owner you are as well. And I know how you care about people. And I think it's important for people to know and for people to see your story and know that it's not just business. It's not just personal. It's all of it intermingled together. And you can have it all. You can't have it all the time, but you can have bits and pieces of it most of the time.
Yeah, I do. I will say, like, you know, my family means more to me than anything. It's the one thing I wanted in my entire life. For those of you who don't know, like, I didn't really have much of a family growing up. And so as I got older, having a family, having kids was like my be all, end all type of thing, right? And I am an old mom. I'm 47. I have, you know, my wife, my daughter. One of my daughters is my bonus. My wife started over with me, and we went through IUI, which that failed several times. We went through some miscarriages, and then we went to IVF. And we only had 2 eggs that came out, and the doctor said we were supposed to have 10. So we were like, oh my gosh, 2 eggs. Well, at least we got two, right? The percentage of that, both of them making it was like nil, like very, very little. Even just one making it was very, very little. So the fact that I have two baby girls, one almost 4, one almost 2 in about a month and a half, they are my little miracle babies. I am so blessed to have them. I definitely do take into the amount of time that I'm trying to spend with them because I did want to have a family. And so being present or trying to be as present as possible in the industry that we are in you have to be very conscientious on
Yes.
how you're spending that time, right? So I travel about once a month, once every month and a half or so, and I've taken my family on every single trip except for 2.
Hmm.
And that's since my daughter's been born.
Yeah, how fun is that? I mean, it's so fun to see them and going to all these different places while you're out, and it's just fun. And
Yeah.
it's so refreshing to see that because a lot of times people don't like their spouse doesn't want to go, and so the kids can't go. And sometimes we go places where your wife has family and she can hang out with them and hang out with you, and so it's kind of nice to see that. And it's just amazing to me how you have overcome so many things in your life to be able to get to where you are today as a successful real estate agent, somebody who's successful at helping other people all the time. You're always finding ways to raise money for people when they need it. And you believe in a cause and you go for it and you help people with that. So tell us a little bit about how you've done that.
Yeah, so as of just recently, what's today? Monday, the 30th. So on Wednesday, a few days ago, the 26th, we had the EXP rally. And so there's rallies throughout the United States for EXP, our brokerage. And within these rallies, everything that is raised at our EXP rally goes to Extend a Hand. Extend a Hand is a nonprofit organization through EXP. So when an agent comes up with hard times, tragedy, a death, something that maybe their house got flooded or maybe the house got burnt down, EXP Extended Hand will come in and donate funds to help with the costs and help that agent overcome these tragedies or these issues. And so I was able to raise about $10,000, about 20 minutes, 15 minutes with about
Wow.
200 to 225 people. The night before that, I raised in a group about 40, just over $2,800 in less than 5 minutes. And so to me, giving back to my community, being a source of how can we help somebody else, really matters to me, because if it weren't for people when I was younger, believing in me, giving me a place to stay, putting a roof over my head, believing in me when I was in college, giving me a chance when I probably didn't deserve a chance, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I was not the best kid, or I'll say best, teenager. I would not be here today. I 1000% know this. I would be dead or I would be in jail. And thankfully, God put enough angels in my life or guiding lights in my life, right, to kind of deter me and give me some really good guidance. Now, whether I took that all the time is a different story, right? But, sometimes we are a little hard headed and we like to learn the hard way.
Yes.
But thankfully, I had people who did not give up on me. I had people who believed in me when I didn't even believe in myself. And so it's from those moments that I truly 100% believe that any chance that we have the ability to give back, the ability to help somebody make it a little bit easier, one little ripple can create a wave if we get enough people behind it. And I do believe that a ripple doesn't have to be super big, just big enough to create that ripple, right?
Yes. And to create momentum too, because then other people see the ripple, they have the momentum, and then they take over the next step, and then the next person takes the
Yes.
next step. And but it starts with one.
It does.
Yeah. That's
So
amazing. Wow, that was quick that you got money together for those different causes. That's fantastic. And
thank
it
you.
makes you feel good, doesn't it? Because everybody feels better when they're serving, when they're giving. Sometimes it's raising money, sometimes it's other things that we do. Sometimes it's actual physical service that we give to people. And you
Yeah.
do a lot of that too.
Yeah. I think no matter what, in whatever capacity you can give, whether that's, a donation, or maybe you're the person who can't donate, but you can start where you can have people collect. You can be the place where you're collecting donations yourself,
Yes.
right? Whether that's food or clothing or Christmas gifts for the kids, or, you don't have to always be the person having to give. You just need sometimes to be the facilitator, because there are so many people out there who want to do something. They just don't have the ability to focus enough to say, all right, how do I do this? And when you can become that resources to say, you know what, I have it, just come here and we'll make it happen. And
Hmm.
so sometimes you just need to be that person.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you have such an incredible mindset, Lonnie. That's one of the things that I love about you is your mindset. You have a perseverance and a positive mindset as well. And you've been through some stuff, haven't you? Physically, you've had some things. Why don't you share a little
Yeah.
bit about that?
Yeah, so, I think growing up, you can go, one of two different ways. You can continue on a path that is detrimental to you, or you can continue on a path that you can use as, life is happening for me. And, I grew up not in the best childhood. My parents abandoned me. They didn't want me, physical abuse, things like that. I learned at a very, very early age, at like 4 or 5, I was collecting soda cans and bottle cans, bottle pops. At that time, you could collect them and turn them into the corner store and get 5 cents,
I
right?
remember that.
So I would, collect cans and bottles so that way I can make money. As I got a little bit older, that turned into making, yarn bracelets for 10 cents so that way I could figure out how to put clothes on my back so I could go to school. And that then turned into later on me mowing lawns. Like, and I mean, some of these lawns they were like a quarter acre, half acre, and I was only getting like $25. I like at the time I had no idea that I probably should have been charging more, but I was so young. But I was like, all right, how do I make some money? And then, as I got older, things turned a different way, and I had to figure out how to make it out of my body. So I sold other things. And the best part about that all of that is that it taught me how to be resilient.
Hmm.
It taught me how to survive. It taught me how to interact with people. It taught me street smart. It taught me what I need to look out for. And so, there have been times where I didn't make sometimes the best choice, but that was because I was in survival mode. And I'm not saying that as an excuse.
Hmm.
I'm saying that because that was my reality at the time. And so as I got older, I learned that, it's a funny thing when you change your environment. And the first time I went to college, I went to Tacoma Community College.
Hmm.
It's I had to wait until I was about 25 because my parents would not give me their information so that way I could go to school. And so I had to wait until they could I didn't have to rely on their information to go.
Mm.
And environment, oh my gosh, environment changes everything. And it was not until I went to Tacoma Community College that I didn't understand what a positive environment was. I didn't understand what it was really like for people to believe in you. I didn't really understand that there was such a huge difference in the world going to survival and trying to make it day to day, then going to college and like understanding like there's so much more to life and there's so much more in your circle and how proximity really does matter. And I think that is such a huge component of things, which is part of the reason why I stayed with the Ford fam, right? Where you and I met, because it really does truly matter who you surround yourself with. And up until that point, I just thought that dying was normal. I thought being shot up was normal. I thought going to jail was normal. I thought being put in handcuffs was normal. And so this opened up in an entire different world for me. The same thing when I got into real estate. I had literally no idea that everyday people could buy houses with cash, that people had hundreds and thousands of dollars, that when I grew up, and my thought was the only people who really had money like that were superstars and football players, or
Yes.
actresses and things like that. I had no clue, unless you were big time Dylan, no clue. And so I think environment matters, your people matter. As far as like some of the things just physically, in 2020, I fell through a house, showing one of my clients, and I fell through about 6 feet down. I should have died, to be quite honest with you. Thank God I'm still here because I fell through a crawl space and the alarm system was above and the floor was removed and I had no idea. I woke up, blood running down my face. I passed out multiple times. I don't even know how I got out of the crawl space. And from that injury, I still have severe migraines very often. But for the first few years, I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember my scripts. I couldn't remember how to have a consultation with my clients. I would literally schedule appointments and I had reminders all over the place. I had post-its, I had alarms on my phones, I had alarms going off on my computer. And there would be times I'm literally was at my house because it was during COVID time, right? I would be at
Uh-huh.
my house and my alarm would be going off and I'm supposed to be 45 minutes away at an appointment. Um, and so I had to relearn my business after that. I had to
Mm.
relearn how do I communicate with my sellers? How do I communicate with my buyers? How do I even just remember what I'm supposed to be doing? I had to put in systems. So like even now, if you were to look at my desk, I have several post-its in front of me. I have a stack of like literally post-its right here. These are all notes, right? I have alarms. I have a multitude of, I would say, books in front of me that have messages or notes that I need to be doing. And so I had to learn how to redo my business. I had to relearn how to remember things. And I think for me, like what keeps me going is yes, we've had hard times. Yes, I had to figure out how to do things over, but I'm also still here.
Yes. It's the gratitude.
Yeah.
Yes, you focused on that. I've noticed when we talked about it, when you first told me your story about when you fell through the crawl, I was like, I cannot believe that. And I see you now, and you don't look like you have any effect from it at all. And of course, you are much better than you were, but you had to work hard to make it happen. And when you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, this woman has a lot of perseverance, a lot of, you're just going to keep going and nothing's going to stop you. And I think what has helped you the most is your positive gratitude attitude. I see that in you, and I've seen you talking to people. I've seen you talking to me yourself, and you have a way of being looking at the good instead of the bad, and I think that's part of how you got through it, and that's great for your clients as well, because real estate agents need to be compassionate. They need to be good listeners. They need to understand what it's like on the other side.
I'll tell you this, Irene. When I first got into real estate, I was not the best at gratitude. I was not the best at learning how to connect because I didn't have a lot of relationships in my life. So for me, trying to understand the emotions or the just the understanding of like, just the concept of relationships, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So real estate has really taught me how do I continue to build relationships. And I'm not gonna lie, I still struggle even now. Like it's very hard for me to let people close to me because I don't really truly understand how to let people in. I never really had that, right? And
Mhm.
so as I get older, I am still learning very much so. I still do keep people at a distance, not because I'm trying to, but I have to physically like and mentally remind myself like you have to like break down these walls, right? As far as like the gratitude, even when I am even now, I get questions from clients or from other people that I do business with or just in my friendships and they ask me a question. I'm so used to going straight to the answer, right? And I'll start typing out the answer, but then I have to remind myself, no, that's not how most people operate. And so I'll type out the answer, but then I go back up and then I will remind myself that I need to have that human experience. Like, how are
Yes.
you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for,
Hmm.
whatever it is. And really try to, I have to, again, be very conscientious on my side to establish that relationship on it's not just a X, Y, like black and white. Like you ask me a question, I'm giving you an answer. Ask me a
Yeah.
question, I'll give you an answer. Like there is a form and a place to be able to build a relationship with one another, and that I have to work very hard on that on my side.
Yeah. That's what happens when you grow up without learning those things. It's something that you learn at home. And if you weren't able to learn it at home, well, not everybody learns it at home, even when they have parents there, but it is something that you can learn growing up. And if you didn't have that, it makes sense. But what I love about what you're saying is that you have found a way, a system to make sure that you do that. You stop yourself and say, okay, it's time to remember I've got to make it more warm, or I need to develop rapport or
Yes,
whatever it is, even though it doesn't come naturally.
it does not at all. at all. It really does not. And like I and I and I see this time and time, right, with myself because I literally I'm thankful that I can remember to do so, right? But I think it's also because I've been in this industry for so long and I know how much importance or how important relationships matter.
Yes.
They matter a lot, whether that's with me and my clients or with other agents in the industry or with my business partners. Relationships matter and you will only make it in this business, really. And in my eyes, right? You can be very transactional, which is very cold.
Yes.
And that's not what I want to be, right? I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to make a difference in, the relationships that I have. And the only way I can do that is by allowing myself to continue growing and remembering that I might not have been raised this way, but I'm trying to teach my daughters,
Yes.
right? And so I have to figure out a way to be the example while still teaching them, even though I didn't have that. And we can use we can use that as an excuse, or we can use that as a way to get better.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
And I think it's important to explain to your daughters as they get older, to explain to them, there's ways that you can tell stories about things and explain those things to your children, that this doesn't come naturally, or I wasn't raised this way, without, making it sound negative. It can still be a positive
Yeah.
experience, that you're grateful because you weren't, maybe didn't have that experience when you were a
Oh,
child.
I'm 1000% grateful because the one thing that my parents taught me was how not to be like them.
Exactly. We learn what
Yeah.
to do and what not to do when
Yeah.
we're growing up, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
And you know what? You're changing a generation. That's what I love about it. You're changing a generation of how you were raised, and now you're being intentional about raising your children differently. And it makes a difference. And that doesn't mean you're going to be perfect, right? We're
No.
all going to make mistakes and we're going to fall back sometimes. But then what we do with that is what matters.
Trust me, I tell my daughters I'm sorry all the time, especially when if I get frustrated or if I get upset or, there's those moments where, I think being human enough, right? And yes, my daughters are 2 or almost 2 and almost 4, but also giving them the respect that I am not perfect. I do make mistakes and I'm sorry
Yes.
when I did do something not the way that I wanted it to do, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm not showing up how I want to show up.
And it's the same way as real estate agent or lenders. We make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes we lose our cool. Sometimes we do something wrong. Sometimes we make a mistake. Whatever it is, it's what we do with that that matters. If you have a good relationship with your clients, they're going to forgive. It's not a life or death situation, although it feels like that to most people that are buying a home.
Well, you're also an amazing trainer because you take accountability, right? And you're training other LOs how to run and not hide. And I think that's a really key factor, like when we are running into issues on a transaction or a deal or with a client, that we can count on our business partners to still show up even in the bad.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so tell me about what habits you have to keep your mindset good each day. Do you have any little things that you do?
Yeah, I believe in practicing gratitude, right? When I'm having my cup of coffee, is having my things that I'm thankful for, whether that's, having a hot cup of coffee or a hot shower or a bed that I got to sleep in or that I have electricity or that I have food that I have in my house that I can feed my kids with or, shoes on my feet or clean clothes or people that I can call who I can vent to that can give me advice or there's a plethora of things and I think more that you can allow gratitude to come in and the more that you can be thankful for just the small things allows you to be open to the bigger things. And
Yeah,
I do think that practicing gratitude, I used to only do it once a day. Now I probably do it several times throughout the day,
great.
even in the beginning of my business when I got a client or a referral or even a lead, I'm like, thank you God for blessing my business. I still say that to my day, to this day, right? Thank you God for blessing my business. Thank you God for allowing me to have the issues in my business, because if I have issues and I have transactions going sideways or whatever, that means I have clientele and I have business and I'm still doing things, right? I'm still
Yes.
productive. So I'm thankful for the problems. I'm thankful for, just the opportunity to be able to talk to somebody new. And I think, you know, if you can keep that mindset, it opens up so much more, because I think negativity can swallow you whole. I think
Mhm.
it can really derail you if you let it. And if you can always try to find the silver lining, like things don't go 100% right with me all the time. Trust me. I don't, I mean, I wish, but I don't wish, right? Because when things go sideways, when things fall apart, when things are not easy, it does take a lot of mindset to say, all right, what is the lesson I'm supposed to be learning? What is it, the skill that I'm supposed to be implementing? And there's times in my business that, whew, we've gone through some just major things. And, you know, I'm like everybody else. There's times I've been in bed and I've cried and I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I even in this business anymore? Am I even supposed to be doing this? And, you can doubt yourself and you can question yourself. And especially when things are really hard, right? And I know that right now, this is one of the hardest markets we've ever been in.
Mhm.
It's one of the hardest, if not the hardest market we've ever been in. So is it really easy to question your worth? It's really easy to question your confidence, and are you doing the right thing? And you are. You are. You're
Yes.
still here, right? And if you're still here, that means you can still make a difference,
Mhm.
right? And when you can consistently tell yourself that you're here because somebody else needed to hear your story, or you here because somebody else needed your level of advice and guidance, right? Or you are
Yes.
here because you had to go through this so that way these people can go through that. And you can start seeing the bigger picture. It's more than just you.
Exactly. You're part of a much bigger part of the world that people,
I'm just like this little small.
everybody is, right? We're all just a part of a bigger picture. And when we have experiences that we can become more compassionate because we've had those experiences, I think it makes all the difference for us. When I was a kid growing up, I was very fortunate to have loving parents that were loving. They were really good. And my dad is the voice in my head for my self-talk. He always made me believe I could do anything, but he wasn't perfect. There was other things, there were things that he did, and it wouldn't matter what it was. But I had a brother that was always in trouble, and I haven't really told this story out loud, but it's okay. He my protector. He was only 5 years older than me, and from the time I was in elementary school, he would protect me, and even through junior high he was very protective. But most of the time he was in juvenile hall, or he was in prison. He was in several prisons, and he ended up being murdered in San Quentin. And we lost him when I was 19 or 20. And I was 19. And it was the most devastating thing. But what I've learned from that experience is so many things. Not just that experience, my whole life growing up with him. I saw that people can do things wrong and they can still be good people. That was the thing that I really learned from growing up with my brother, that he did some things that were wrong. He did some things that were wrong, but he was a good person. He had a good heart. And what I also learned is that my mom never gave up on him. Never. She never gave up hope. She never gave up on him. And of course, she was devastated when he died. But
Mhm.
we also knew that he was out of pain, that I think he had some mental things that, where he was dealing with. Now that I look back as an adult and can see it, but he was a great brother to me. And what I learned is that everybody has good in them. I
You,
don't care
you
who they are.
know, uh, I had an uncle. And kind of the same thing, right? And first, I want to say thank you for sharing that with me and being vulnerable with me on that. And so I will share a story likewise. I had an uncle. He was on the actually 10 most wanted list for America, right? Because he was a murderer. Not gonna lie, he was a murderer. But and who he was around me was kind of the same, right? And so I do think who you're around, right,
It matters.
does matter.
It does.
Whether it's the good or the bad, right? And I don't say that just to say that. I say that because, like, growing up, people are like, "Oh, you are who you hang around with." Well, it's still true as an adult. You are
It
who you
is.
with, right? And if you want to do better, look at your circle. If you're not doing as well, look at your circle.
Yeah,
Sometimes um, maybe it comes down to making a move,
for
right?
sure.
Making a move where you're not comfortable and you're getting yourself out of one city and into another city and started from scratch. Uh,
Yes.
and so, everybody has their quirks. Everybody has good and bad, right? I think part of it is what pushes you,
Yes.
right? Into doing either,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
right?
also noticed when I was growing up that I didn't know this until I was an adult. Probably the last maybe 20 years or so, I realized that that's why I never wanted to be a burden on my parents. I never wanted to put my mom through what he and other people in our family put him through. And I just didn't want to do that. And so I wasn't even conscious of it as a child, but I was conscious of it as an adult looking back, that that's why I didn't get in trouble growing up. And I was the opposite on purpose because I just wanted to be the good child, not because it would looked good on me, but because I didn't want to put my mom through any more heartache than she'd already been through. And so kids will pick up different things from different examples that they grow up with. But I don't know how we got onto that subject, but I just know that you learn from your experiences, whatever they are. Are you holding off on training your loan partners, your loan assistants, your team members, and support staff on how to wow your clients? Are they getting that kind of training from you? You probably plan on training them if you get a few extra hours, but when does that happen realistically? And meanwhile, your team is doing the best they can with the information that they have. But this kind of training really doesn't exist anywhere else. When you do the training, that means you're not as responsive as you want to be with your clients, and you're not hitting your closing and income goals as a loan officer. So how much is it costing you to not have a team that's properly trained how to wow clients and referral partners so that they only want to work with you because of the great experience that they're getting? We teach them how to use efficient step-by-step processes and systems that work, how to follow up so nothing falls through the cracks and loans close on time and even early, how to build wonderful relationships with clients, how to wow people so they go, man, that was an amazing experience. The members of his or her team are amazing. They're so on it. How to use scripts and dialogues for winning clients, setting expectations, and communicating with clients so that you can prevent problems down the road. How to handle difficult clients, how to make clients feel appreciated and valued, and how to handle and overcome objections. It might be time to ask for some help. That's why we're here. Loan Team Training has our next live WOW training coming up. We train your team for you so you can focus on closing loans. Check it out at loanteamtraining.com for our next class and see how many 5-star reviews we have from past WOW training participants and their loan officers who sent them at loanteamtrainingreviews.com. Remember, it's an interactive virtual training with live trainers, and we train any of your support staff that is communicating with clients and referral partners. Our sessions are 9 to 11:30 Pacific time. Check us out and sign your loan partner or team member up at loanteamtraining.com.
Yeah,
And
1000%.
yes, and your circle. I love that you keep bringing it back to that because it's so true, especially as an adult, especially as a business owner, especially in your real estate, in my dealings with loan officers
Yeah.
and training and real estate agents and everybody. I
Yeah.
think it's really important that we are in the right circle and that you're in the right rooms. And like you had mentioned with Ryan Leake, who is one of the speakers that spoke with us about the game of inches. So tell us about the game of inches.
Yeah, so we were at a Ford last year, and I think it was just a theme, right? It matters. Everybody's so average, or they don't want to go above and beyond. They want to do bare minimum. And in all honesty, it's just a game of inches, of inches. Those inches, when compounded, make up a huge difference over time, right? And as long as you can continue to move the bar a little inch at a time, you will far exceed anybody else out there because most people are not putting in the energy to get better. Most people are not putting in the energy on how do I overcome this so that way I can get to this, right? Most people have become very, very complacent. And it's not hard as of now to stand out on why people are making it or not making it. There's such a huge middle, and the middle is being torn apart, right? Look what's going on in our and the middle class in society being torn apart. The middle and industries are being torn apart, right? We're supposed to have some of the biggest layoffs this year. And why? Because of AI. Why? Because people need to figure out how to get out of the middle,
Yes.
right? They need to figure out like these inches can make a huge difference. And
Mhm.
if you're not willing to put into yourself, I don't know what to say.
Yep. It's only one step at a time. It's the
Yeah.
little inches.
I mean, I've been working on a tech platform since July of last year. And
Yes.
I was literally, and let me put it to you this way. I did not go out to intentionally build a tech platform, right? I went out to say, during this time, as we were listening to Ryan Lake and Gary Vee and all of them, right? The game of inches. And I ended up getting a phone call from a seller who wanted to list their house with me, potentially interview me to list their house. They had just fired an agent who had the house on the market for 69 days, no activity, no showings, no nothing. And they were interviewing me and one other agent. And I consider myself very good at what I do. I have over 400 plus transactions. I've been in this business for almost 13 years. The other person that I was going against, she's very good as well. I'm not going to lie. And I considered myself the underdog going into this listing appointment. And she's very good. I'm very good, but I really did consider myself the underdog. And as I was getting ready for this, I kept asking myself, what is it that I need to do to set myself apart? How do I differentiate myself? Because we all have the same market. We all have the same interest rates. We all have the same inventory. We all have the same everything. The only thing that separates us is if how we are going to market or if who is going to run down to the bottom and cut their commission.
Mm,
Otherwise, a seller has no idea who is better. They go off of who they vibe with the most, right? Who they like the most. And then, even then, that might not be the best agent because they just went off of, all right, well, they all sound the same, but I got personally vibed with them a little bit better, so I'm going to choose them.
mhm.
Otherwise, there's nothing differentiating. And
Yeah.
so I came up with ListIQ, and we were able to uh, secure the listing with ListIQ because I was able to differentiate myself, not by just saying the same thing that the other agent said, right? But we were able to target what's going to happen. We were able to say at this list price, at this address, this is the type of buyer that we should be looking at. This is the type of lifestyle they want. This is the objections and concerns that they have. This is their pain points. This is how we're going to overcome it. And we have seller scripts in there on how to navigate objections. We have buyer objections on like, if a buyer has this objection, this is how we can respond. And then we have hooks, ads, reels, taglines, everything needed for the agent to say, we have a full marketing plan based off of all of this stuff that we can get you what you need to get.
Mhm.
And that allowed
Complete.
me to
Mhm.
differentiate myself. And we actually just went live on that. And we just went live on it today.
I'm so excited. When you said that it was just going live today for the beta test, I was so excited. I thought, yay, the day we're recording. Because I remember you telling me what you were doing, and I was so excited for you because this is going to be big. And
Yes.
it's for real estate agents, and loan officers also have a report. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so the lenders have their own report too. And the reason why I did it on the lender side is because just like us as agents, we all sound the same. We all have the same thing. And the one thing that I get called about is like, they're like, hey, Lani, do you want to come have a conversation with me? We have some new loan products. Would love to get a cup of coffee. No, I don't want to get a cup of coffee with you because you guys all have the same loan products. You guys just call it something different. And I don't want to waste my time unless I know that that business partnership is going to help me and them increase uh, our client conversion, production, and how much we're getting to the closing table, right? And so for the lender report, we are aligning and we're looking at the financial side of things. Like, so if the lender wants to do an open house with the agent, they now have the financing side of it. If they just want to do it because the buyer is thinking about putting an offer at this price point, well, they can put in on the address and then the price point, and it's going to tell you exactly what are the psychological factors that you as an agent, I mean, lender should be thinking about with this buyer. And then what does it mean? We're also going to say, how does an LO stabilize this type of offer to keep the transaction? Well, first get the offer accepted, but then to keep it all the way to close.
Uh-huh.
And what kind of scripts? Because the other thing, as I was building this out, you told me this, and a couple of my other lender friends told me this, which literally blows my mind. Is lenders don't have scripts.
Right.
You guys don't have scripts, which is so insane, crazy to me. Because on my side, like I am a script person. I built my business off of scripts, and then to hear that the lender side doesn't have scripts that have to deal with like some of the biggest pieces of a buyer's decision, and then I look at it and I say, all right, no wonder why lenders struggle. No wonder why they have a hard time keeping it from start to close, because most lenders don't have the support or the training or the backing, right? And so we have scripts for the analytical buyer, the cautious buyer, the overwhelmed buyer, the move up, move down buyer, the VA military. So we have different scripts to be able to help LO with that. And so if you are an LO and you're just kind of starting out and you need some help, well, here you go. If you're a
Yeah.
branch manager and you're trying to train your LOs, but you don't want to micromanage, well, here you go. You got a tool with a system that will help convert, will help train, and get more of your people to the closing table, while simultaneously being able to add um, a value source as a partner to your
Yes.
agents. And then I also have in here the ability on how you can communicate with your agent business partner and the things that you should be saying throughout the transaction, and how do you collaborate. And so all of that's in the lender report too.
And it's so great. It's very different than other listing things that I've seen, or any, any of the stuff that I've seen out there on the market.
Yeah.
And I think it's great. And you asked a lot of questions. You checked, you did your research, you asked lenders what they thought,
Yes.
and really good producing lenders.
Yes.
And I was so glad that you did that.
Yeah, all of my all whether it's the lender side or agent report, they can stand alone by themselves, or you can put them together and team up, and it becomes that much more stronger. But all of our things that we're putting in our report are very much data backed. So we are collecting over 200 endpoints on data, and then we're using AI. So it's very human driven, AI backed, right?
Yes, I like that.
Information. And so it is the one differentiator that you can now go to an agent and build and actually say that you have something of value to help them get into more production. It's going to help your LOs who are doing maybe 2 or 3 transactions a month get to 4 or 5, right? For your ones who are doing at a higher conversion to help train. And it's a twofold, right?
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait for it to come out so the loan officers, the lenders can use it, and it's going to be great. And right now you're in beta testing. It just went live today as we're recording this.
Yeah. And if you like, I can give you some info on it so that
Yeah.
way
We'll
if
put it
you
in the show notes.
take a look,
Yes.
they just have to fill out who sent them the information,
Okay.
right? And so that way I can follow up, right? Because we are collecting information to make sure that we are breaking things appropriately, right? And
Yes.
that they work, but that we're also seeing that it's an actual resource and what's standing out. And so it really does truly matter, the feedback.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's great. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. You have something really great, and now it's finally going to go out and be live because you've been working on it for a while. I mean,
Yeah,
you've
this
been
is just
doing,
phase one. We have
yeah.
four phases. So this
Yes.
is just phase one.
Yep, phase one. There's going to be several. So, phase one is the people who are beta testing it. They're making sure that it works. If anything breaks or if anything needs to be adjusted, this is the time that you'll do that in phase one.
Yes, yes,
But
yes. Yes.
I can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you.
So
I'm
thank
excited.
you
Like,
so much for being here today. I think we've had a really good conversation about a lot of different things, but it's really about perseverance. It took perseverance for you to create this list IQ as well. It took perseverance for you to keep going and do your real estate and be a mom and a wife and a friend and all the different things while you were building this. And I'm sure you had times where you were tired and would have rather just sat and relaxed, but you couldn't.
yeah. There's times when my alarm goes off in the morning and I want to hit the snooze, right? Because I have been working late nights, really early mornings, and I'm human just like everybody else.
Mhm.
And there's times when I'm super tired, like my eyes are burning today because I'm tired.
Yeah.
And there's times where, the Mel Robbins where you do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well,
I was just thinking of that.
mine's a little bit different. Mine is like, don't sabotage yourself.
That's, I love that.
Right. And so I say, don't sabotage yourself. And I shut off my alarm and I make myself get up.
Mm.
Don't sabotage yourself. And that's the biggest thing I say to myself in the
That's
morning.
like a trigger for you, right? To
Yeah.
remember that it's time to get up.
Yeah. Don't sabotage myself because, yes, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is awesome, and I love Mel Robbins for that, right?
Yes.
And I think she's absolutely amazing. But I also know that we as humans love to self-sabotage ourselves, especially when we're growing, or especially when we're uncomfortable, or especially when we're trying to do something new. And I didn't spend this amount of time building something. I didn't spend this amount of time from my family sacrificing things to be with my family, right? Whether that's dinners or seeing them all day or not all day, right?
Hmm.
To being in my office, to having my team tie their boat to mine. I take all of that very, very seriously. And so all of these people are counting on me. And if I allow myself off the hook,
Hmm.
then I am letting so many more people down. And so for me, I think the biggest thing is how do we not allow ourselves to hold accountability for ourselves, right?
Yes.
And for me, because I know everybody likes to self-sabotage, and I've been very good at it in the past,
We
right?
all have. Yes.
Right. And I think it's a matter of like understanding that sometimes your decisions, whether know how small they are, right? Sometimes hitting the snooze button for 10 minutes is a self-sabotaging move.
Yes.
Right? And that 10 minutes then turns in sometimes 20 or 30 or an hour or
Hmm.
whatever. And I have to have enough discipline to say, I'm not going to allow myself or my day to start off by me self sabotaging myself.
Yeah. I love that. One last thing that I didn't mention that I know about you, Lonnie, is the way you love your clients. You have such a good relationship with your clients. And then this last year, I saw that you were going out and taking really nice little gifts to everyone, and you were driving all over the
Oh
place
my gosh. Yeah.
in Seattle, Tacoma, all these different areas. You were just determined that you were going to show every single one of them that you cared. And
Yes.
that took a lot. And I'm sure they recognized what
Yeah.
you were doing.
Yeah.
And I
It
just,
took over a week. Over a
it
week
did.
from morning to night, literally, sometimes 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I literally had my clients, and I'm like, "We were waiting for you to come by. We've been seeing you do this, and we've been waiting, and we are so excited." And it was amazing because I was able to talk to some of my clients that I haven't talked to for, like, 10 years, right? And just being able to catch up and just being able to have conversations and meet people where they're at, and for me, again, relationships do matter to me, right? And I have to work very hard on myself with myself to make sure that I maintain these relationships. And so these are just some of the things that I do so that way I can keep in relationship. We have a client appreciation event that we're getting ready to do July 1st, where I rent out the party deck for the Rainiers game. It's the minor league baseball team. And so I will literally have clients drive 3+ hours away to come hang out, not just for this, but for other things as well. So I'm again very, very blessed that my clients support me in the way that they do.
Hmm.
And I chose the Rainiers game because it gives me 9 innings to have communications, to have conversations, to not feel rushed, to actually be able to dig deep because I don't like asking superficial questions or having superficial conversations.
Hmm.
And so sometimes I know for myself, like if I'm in a new environment and I'm trying to figure people out, like my emotional intelligence is not always the best. I'm a little awkward at times, but I promise once you get past that, I'm an amazing person, I think. I'm a little
You
biased
are.
talking about
I've
myself.
never noticed that what you just said. I've only seen the good, and you've been
Yeah.
that way from the day I met you.
I feel awkward at times, right? Because maybe it's just because I'm more self-conscientious that I have a hard time building relationships, right? And so maybe that's a drunk monkey on my side that maybe I need to let go so that way I
Yes.
can free myself up to just be and show up more authentically.
Hmm.
So maybe that's something else I need to work on as so thank you maybe for bringing that to my attention or whatever.
Yes, yeah. I've never seen that other side. I've only seen the good side. So, and we've had a lot of time spent together at the different events and stuff we've been to. So,
Yeah.
yeah, your clients are lucky to have you, Lonnie. That's the thing. They're lucky to have you, somebody that cares as much as you do. And I'm so grateful that you're here today. So thank you for sharing all of the stories. And the List IQ is big. We're going to put some information about it in the show notes. And people can reach out to you. We're going to put that. What's your Instagram?
Lani Fisher Holmes, I believe. Lani Fisher Holmes.
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
it's Fisher Holmes. That's so bad that I don't even know that, right? Like, it's Lani Fisher Holmes. Lani Fisher Holmes. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll put it in the show notes as well. But
Okay.
anyone who has any questions or anything about List IQ, or just reach out to Lonnie and she'll be there to answer your questions. And I just hope that you have a great rest of the day. And I'm so grateful that you were here sharing such great information. So
Likewise, I appreciate you.
yeah, I appreciate you too.